Micro showrooms and micro factories have just arrived to the Upland metaverse. This is an unexpected update. Let's break it down. I'm not going to be building micro factories, and I'll let you know why.
I'm YK2012, founder of the Upland Guide. I'm here to unlock the secrets of the Upland metaverse. On this channel, you can find everything you need to build your Upland empire. Expert tutorials, winning strategies, pro tips and tricks, and a lot more. Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to stay ahead of the game. Remember, knowledge is power, and in the Upland metaverse, that knowledge is truly your most valuable asset.
So here we are in Manhattan, and you can see here in the Chelsea neighborhood, which has reached a collection neighborhood status. You can see here that I've already started building my very first micro showroom, and it's approximately the same size as an apartment building. It's conveniently placed right next to my Block Explorer shop, Dale's Deluxe Drivers, and I think this update is great for anyone who has properties in New York or any other place where properties are extremely expensive. You can see here that the micro showroom just barely fits on this property, and this one is 56 up squared. With the prices of properties in these tier 1 cities or in neighborhoods that are extremely expensive, owning a large enough property in order to build a small factory or showroom is going to cost a lot of money in terms of properties. Add on to that the fact that you need to have a minimum amount of sparklet in order to operate a factory makes manufacturing of items not impossible, but something that isn't for everybody. Now, if a player is going to head over to Dale's Deluxe Drivers in order to pick up a Block Explorer, I'm going to want them to be close by to other shops that I own. So having a showroom here is a big advantage, where they don't have to send themselves anywhere else in order to discover and check out what else I'm selling. Now you can also see here that right across the street, I have another property which is just big enough also to put on a factory or a showroom. I'm also going to be demolishing this townhouse soon in order to build another showroom. You might think that by having a factory here might be a good idea, but I want to remind you that you cannot sell items out of factories. That's the whole purpose of these showrooms. You're going to have to ship your items that are produced from your factory to your showroom using a vehicle. Shipping hasn't yet come to Upland, but we do know that vehicles can be quite pricey, and we also know that you have to charge your vehicle. So there is a recurring cost of having to stake Sparklet onto your vehicle in order to recharge it. So transporting goods from A to B is not going to be free. So here you can see that if I'm just going to be transferring it across the street, then my charging cost for my vehicle is going to be extremely low. But I believe that this property would be better used by another type of showroom. As I mentioned before, I want this to be a one-stop shop for everybody. So the idea here would be to have one showroom to sell map assets and the second one to sell structure ornaments. By having this prime real estate, which is right across the street from Madison Square Gardens, tied up in a factory that is not generating revenue for me, is not a good use of this plot of land. In addition to that, these micro factories have a rate of production that is extremely low, and it's definitely ill-advised to use a micro factory in order to mass produce items. If you go ahead and Google the price of Sparklet, because you're going to want to know how much it's going to cost you in order to start manufacturing your items, it's important to note that the price obviously fluctuates, but in addition to that, once a quarter, Upland will be readjusting within the game how much Sparklet is required to produce items. More information about this can be found in the link in the upper right hand corner and of course in the description below. With that in mind, I plan to hopefully utilize properties that I own in other cities around Manhattan in order to manufacture the items that I need, and then have those shipped to these showrooms. Just like in the real world, if you're walking around the downtown core of the city that you live in, chances are you're not going to see a lot of factories there. You're just going to see showrooms. That's the same concept that I'm applying here in Upland. Factories can be further away from where I want to concentrate people's eyes on things that they can actually purchase. Now, let's say you just have a small run of items that you want to create because maybe it's a very specialty item that you're only going to sell about 20 or 30 of them. Now, if it's going to take you approximately 1 day to produce each item, you're thinking about almost an entire month just to create all the items for the project that you're going to be looking to sell. Now, maybe this is a long time or maybe it isn't. This more depends on how you're actually planning your project. If you're going to be selling them all at once, you're obviously going to want to have them all produced and ready to sell when you want to start selling them. However, if you're going to be giving them away, or if the price point is extremely high and you don't think they're going to sell out immediately, then maybe the rate of production doesn't affect you as much. You can also see here on this property, there really isn't a lot of room to place a lot of these items that I've manufactured. Now, the factory is a tiny bit bigger than the showroom, and you also have to remember that there's the inventory lot, which is a rectangular space on the same property as your factory, where all the items produced are going to be placed. So here, there isn't actually a lot of room here. It's probably only going to be able to fit about 15 or 20 of these specific items. So I'm going to have to make sure that the inventory lot is not full, so I don't create a backlog and force the factory to stop manufacturing. I'm going to have to start moving those items from my factory either to the showroom itself or to any other property that I own. And as you can see on both of these properties, there isn't a lot of space to hold the items. So being able to find the fine line between production planning, manufacturing, shipping, sales, and the price point is going to be a challenging task to make sure that I keep my inventory low, products moving, proper resource management, and of course, happy customers. I'm someone who has a number of properties spread out all across the metaverse, also of varying sizes. So I have the flexibility in order to make these decisions. If you're someone who doesn't have a lot of properties and you're looking to get starting with manufacturing, having a micro factory and a micro showroom close by is not necessarily a bad thing. It will most likely definitely save you on property costs, but do take into account the amount of time it's going to take you to manufacture these items. If you're looking to do any sort of mass production, using a microfactory is probably not going to be what you're going to want to do. More information about manufacturing, factories, all of the supply chain, and anything Upland you can find with the Upland Guide in more links in these upcoming videos and in the description below.